Good morning, everybody. It's Friday and it's a fantastic Friday. It's the 24th of July and this is actually number 77, I think, of the live videos. They're all available on my YouTube channel if you want to look back. There's Millie. She's having a fantastic day because I've given her a treat and she's getting a fright. She's getting older and she's getting a fright when she bites into it. So she's now wanting me to lift it up to her. She'll just have to wait. So, what a fantastic day. I feel fantastic. This is something I've been saying and have had to keep saying over the last week. I've been quite stressed, and that's kind of both mentally and then physically. I thought I'd actually kind of come down with a cold, and of course, I don't know about you, but if there's anything just now that you've got sniffles, or now my hair's annoying me, if you've got sniffles or anything, you start to sort of panic maybe. So I'm just going to put the hair back, or that'll be annoying me. So I've had to really be positive, and that's why I found like it's good for me to do these positive, motivational, inspirational talks or the live videos, not just to remind you, but to remind me to feel marvellous. That was Monday, wonderful Wednesday, and today, fantastic Friday. So I think we should start today because I to do this last night. I don't know whether it was kind of in a dream or how I was feeling, but I did sort of think, oh, my chest is getting a bit tighter, and you start to think, oh my goodness, is that my lungs? What should I do? And I remembered I've always done the diaphragmatic breathing, which brings energy into the body and also calms you. But I don't know if you remember, quite soon after this, the kind of lockdown started, there was a nurse and a doctor came on, I think it might have been YouTube or onto television, to show that if you practice breathing, it helps you, excuse me, talking too much now. It helps you sort of control your breathing and bringing air into the lungs. So they did bringing breathing in through your nose, the diaphragmatic breathing, and it was like to the count of 10. It's quite long to do, but it's helpful. It can help you understand if your lungs are maybe working properly. So you take a deep breath in through the nose for about the count of 10. You to then hold it for the count of 5, which is quite a long while, and then exhale. But I was doing that last night, kind of practicing it. And don't do it so much that you start to feel faint or dizzy. So I think we should start just with a breathing. Take a deep breath in through the nose, hold, and then exhale. And hopefully that kind of calms you down, calms me down. And then the affirmation today is, I feel fantastic, or this is a fantastic day. Now I'm going to give some tips about how to feel fantastic, but it's by referring to quotes by Mark Twain. He's probably known more to you by his popular The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn or The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, but he actually was also a humorist, a satirist and lecturer, and he'd many often funny quotes. So if we start off, kind of the tip is approve of yourself, your behaviour and your actions. In the words of Mark Twain, a man cannot be comfortable without his own approval. So when you approve of yourself, then you become calmer, you're more relaxed, and you feel free to do more of what you really want to do. When you don't approve of yourself, you create barriers in your mind, and that just holds you back. You start thinking you don't deserve to be happy, you don't feel good about yourself, you're not at peace, or maybe even that you're not capable of doing lots of things. It's that little voice in your head again, and you'll end up sabotaging yourself. So you need to change your mindset. In fact, I think throughout the whole pandemic or all these live videos, there are many people saying, I'm anxious, I'm stressed, I've been feeling unwell, and you're not alone in that. I can feel that way too, but as soon as these kind of negative things come into my mind, I change my mindset. So for this tip, it's change your mindset and approve of yourself. Allow yourself to be who you want to be, to create the life you want. Don't wait for approval from others. approve of yourself. So change that little voice in your head to be positive. Know you can do tasks. Some might be difficult, but you can do it. It might just take some time or some more time. Another tip, it's all in the mind. I constantly been talking about this. When I'm asked, for example, about my age, I just say, age is in the mind. I'm as young as I feel. So this quote by Mark Twain is kind of me to a T. Age is just mind over matter. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter. And I've said it before and I'll say it again, the mind is extremely powerful. When you've got negative thoughts, they create limitations, and mostly these are just in your mind. It's not just that little voice in your head, but if people say negative things about you, like, oh, you're too tall, you're too old, whatever that's negative, it affects you negatively and it affects that little voice in your head. So you need to stop letting it affect your mind. Mostly these things only matter when you let them matter, or you think they matter. So if they let them affect you, you're letting other people affect you. So when you let them affect you, other people will also pick up on this. So it's like a vicious circle. They will sense that you're frightened, you feel fear, and they'll keep pressing that button, those negative buttons. Don't let this happen. Practice letting the negative thoughts go. Now, for a fantastic day, have some fun. And it's like a broken record. But again, laughter is the best medicine. Or in the words of Mark Twain, against the assault of laughter, nothing can stand. Laughter is so amazing. It can change negative, even serious situations into something to laugh about. Laughter lightens the mood anywhere, anytime. Now, I think I've told the story before, but the story of Andy, a really good friend, he was a head fire master and he'd been on duty with the heavy duty vehicles, and they see lots of horrendous things. And I said to him, how do you cope with this about stress and anxiety? And he said, well, we can't, obviously, if somebody has died, there's been a tragic accident, we couldn't possibly say to relatives. But he said, actually, what we do is we find something to laugh about. It really just removes that stress immediately. He said, I know there are people come in, there are stress counsellors, but he said, sometimes it can seem it's too late. By the time these people come, we've had to deal with it and we've gone on to the next accident. So he said laughter really helped de-stress us. So remember that. If you're getting sort of so stressed, try and find something to laugh about. When you lighten your mood, you will feel better, you'll feel calmer, your mind will not be filled with all the negative emotions. Just think of the phrase, being light-hearted. Yes, your heart will be lighter. I mean, when I think of my gorgeous son, it's a loss that I'll never get over. I endure it in a different way each day. And I can feel overwhelmed, which is natural, and that's okay, but not all the time. So when maybe it's at an inappropriate time, or it's just becoming too much, I think of the things that he did that made me laugh. So even in grief, you can lighten your heart and your mood. For other problems or challenges, of course, if you laugh these or find some way of laughing, you'll actually find it easier to find a solution. So the next tip is let go of anger. And in the words of Mark Twain again, anger is an acid that can do more harm to the vessel in which it is stored than to anything on which it is poured. So just think about that. It means that you can damage yourself more almost by being angry than you are hurting the other person. It's it's such an important thing. Anger is often and usually is pointless. When you get angry, situations can get out of hand. It can also end up kind of hurting you. It's hurting the other person, and it actually hurts you more than the other person. And sometimes that other person doesn't even know you're angry. So remember this, if you feel angry at someone, especially if you let that anger fester for days, then it affects you more than you can even believe. And it certainly will affect you more than the other person. And often the other person's not even aware of you being angry at them. So a couple of tips here. Either let it go if you can, or if you can talk to the other person. And it's got to be possible. As I've said before, when you're talking in any way with each other over any kind of issues, it has to have two sensible adults. And of course, in the throes of anger and upset, there's bound to be either some or both of you not being sensible adults at that moment. So maybe take time and space away. And if you can't do this, let it go. Use my ribbon or my balloon exercise. Send them into that. If somebody's angering you or a situation's angering you, let it go. Let that float away. You don't want to damage yourself. Why would you want to remain angry? And when we can't change the other person, then it can just affect you even more. So when you let go of anger, you really, believe me, you feel better, you'll feel better about yourself, and you'll be calmer. Now, the next tip is let go of the fact that the world owes you. In the words of Mark Twain, don't go around saying the world owes you a living. The world owes you nothing. It was here first. And the fact that you think you're entitled can come from maybe getting things when you were younger, getting them from parents or others. And that creates this, you're growing up thinking everything, you're entitled to things. And this can increase this feeling that the world owes you something. And you should just get what you want when you want. Plenty of stories I'm sure we can all share. If you've had children or you're looking after young children, you do anything to keep the peace. So I want, even if it's sweeties at the supermarket or whatever, and you think, oh yes, just have them. And it's very, very difficult to keep yourself focused on you're not giving in. But that, I know, it can be impossible at times. But if you keep giving in, it creates a problem for the child. When that child actually grows up, they just think they should get what they want, when they want it, and as often as they want it. So if they don't, they start getting angry, they get frustrated, and they find out when they're an adult that just doesn't happen. Now, it can have a positive effect, because when they realise that they can't get what they want when they want it, they suddenly realise, oh, I've got the power within me to create the life that I want. Now, this is my kind of pet hate, is people go on and on about their rights. We hear about it all the time. Yes, we've got rights, but there's very little talk about being responsible and accountable for our behaviour and our actions, or the consequences of our actions. I wish there was more talk on that. So take charge of your life. Start to create the life you want. Now, another tip is kind of not to be complacent. Make changes. Do different things. Now, this can cause problems, not for you, but for other people. When you do something that your friends and people round about you think, oh, that's different, I haven't known them to do that before, though a lot of them might be negative. And it's difficult because it's kind of their problem, not yours. But in the words of Mark Twain, a person with a new idea is a crank until the idea succeeds. Now just think of that, because there's so many people who, oh, you won't be doing that. We've never seen you do that before. But when it succeeds, they'll all be riding in the back of you. Oh, I knew you could do this. So when you start to do something different and people react in a different way, some might be happy for you, but the negative ones, they might be discouraging. But their reactions are not about you. It's telling you more about how they feel about themselves, who they are, and how they feel about their own life. Now, that's okay for them to be like that. You can't change them, but don't let them hold you back. Don't let your mind get filled with their negative, discouraging thoughts that will then end up creating barriers in your mind about what you want to do. So focus on what you want. Another saying by Mark Twain, and it's just part of a quote, but drag your thoughts away from your troubles. Now remember, what you focus on in your mind determines how things play out. So why focus on problems and be a victim? Why be miserable when you can focus on the positives and look at the positives in every situation? Learn from your mistakes and errors and focus on what you learned. Because if you don't learn, another mistake or challenge can come along. And I know, believe you me, I've been through lots of things, and sometimes think, oh, I've learned from that. And if you haven't really, something will arrive at your door that you think, oh, I need to learn from this. So try not to make the same mistake again, but we're all human, you might do, and other challenges will come along. So if you do find yourself focusing on something negative, that, oh, I failed in that, or there was an error, immediately turn your mind around and focus on something else. Even focusing on, that's a lesson I need to learn. So focus on something more positive. And that's where my ABCs come in. Use these and you will find it just will change your mindset. It's why I developed them. And they're simple and easy to use. The problem is when something's simple, people think it doesn't work. It's like breathing. Well, we breathe every day. We know we've got to breathe to live. And we've found that from the virus. I mean, it's horrendous. But if you're fit and well, and you can make yourself even fitter by doing the energy breathing through the diaphragmatic breathing. So the other thing to think about is you have the choice. You have a choice. Do you want to dwell on the negatives and be miserable? Or do you want to dwell on the positives and be that person that's got the smile on the face? It doesn't mean you don't have problems. And so never assume or presume that because somebody's smiling all the time, they don't have problems. But they're probably somebody who's trying to be positive. And I would rather be positive. I use my ABCs and I've made them into habits, my good habits. And if you do that, then you can build these as your habits and you get more control over what you want to focus on. The other thing is cheer someone else up. And you will feel fantastic. Again, the words of Mark Twain, the best way to cheer yourself up is to try to cheer somebody else up. And I've said it before, and I'm repeating like Mark Twain's advice there, or the quote, but when you make someone else feel good, you feel good as well. And this has a ripple effect, and that's what I'm hoping, like with my ABC. I try even to say to people who post on social media that they're having a terrible day, I try not to do that. It isn't that I don't have terrible days and terrible moments, but even if you've this need to post them up, and whether it's a loss or a tragedy, try and put some positive twist on it, and even ending with we've got fantastic memories of that person or whatever. You need to try and turn that around because there's so much negative news around. And if you do that and you feel good and you're helping someone else, they will be inspired to do something, or I hope they will, to help someone else and others too. And so the positive feel-good factor spreads. It's contagious. Now, another sort of tip here is take a risk, dream, explore, discover. And again, Mark Twain had a fabulous quote. I don't think I can say it all off by heart. I've written it down here, but 20 years from now, you will be more disappointed by the things that you didn't do than by the ones you did. So sail away from the safe harbour. Explore, dream, discover. Now, my tip for this is to write down these words: dream, explore, discover. I would put them on a card, keep it with you at all times to remind you that you have choices. You can do the things you haven't done before, but believe, believe, believe. Be positive. Use my C. Think where you want to be, what you want to do, and use your creative imagination to see yourself there. You have done it. It's all in the mind. And, you can do it. Be excited about every day. Some days aren't exciting, but, and as I say, this week's been quite difficult, but, I could have sort of wallowed in my own maybe self-pity, or, I think, is there something wrong? And your mind can go at 1,000 miles an hour. When you have a cough, you've got a sneeze, and you start thinking all sorts of things. And I'm fortunate, touch wood, maybe we shouldn't be doing that, but it just helps you think, right, I feel well, I am fine, and this is a fantastic day. And I knew I was going to be doing this video, and I thought, right, I need to turn myself into being positive. Now, being excited about every day has nothing to do with material possessions. It's more about, like, what legacy do you want to leave behind? Strive to be compassionate in everything you do, the goals you want to achieve. Ask yourself, what mark do you want to make on the world around you? Now, to do this, you need to let go of the past. You need to stop thinking about the future and what's going to happen, what ifs. We don't know what's round the corner. So it's more about live in the now. Stop rushing around, slow down. You actually get things done more effectively and more efficiently. And those of you, because I can rush around as well, but if I kind of pull myself up and just take stock and think, wait a minute, ideas and other things come to you, and you find that you're more calm to go forward, and therefore you're more effective and more productive. It's like not getting yourself in a tizzy, and we can all do it. I do it as well, and I have to remind myself to slow down here. Stop rushing around. Now, remember also that actually the best things in life are free. There's nature, there's the ocean, the sky, the trees, the flowers. Look all around you. Even take time to look at your own city when you're walking around, now that we are out and about. But I was reminded, I had a friend came over from the States actually years ago, and I was taking her around my own city, beautiful city of Glasgow. Do you know, she knew more about it than I did. And it was interesting because I was pointing out things and actually seeing things I hadn't done before. Amazing architecture. So, just think, almost make yourself a tourist and think, what would I do? What would I be looking at here? And of course, you see things in a new light, kind of see them from the tourist's eyes. Sharing your life as well. Share your life with those that you love, those that you enjoy being with. Don't take any of your close relationships and friendships and things for granted. Treat your friends and others the way that you would like to be treated. The next one's can be difficult for people who maybe have to depend on carers, but it's to be self-sufficient, or as self-sufficient as you can in all the circumstances. You may need to depend on carers, but there are things you can control, and that is your mind. And I've got friends who are in their 80s and 90s, and they've just got such a positive outlook on life that, it's amazing to see. And I've had friends who've had terminal illnesses. Now, they haven't survived these, but there's no doubts in my mind that the way they approached these, they'd longer lives, and it was by being positive. The other thing is, don't stop learning. And another wee story here, but I'm finding when I deal with lots of students and young people, when you've been doing that actually, and you were excited when you were young and you got your degree, and some of them are getting PhDs now, and you know yourself that you think, oh, I've got there, I've achieved this. What happens is you sometimes think, and I know from some of my students that they've got this, I've got my degree, I've got my qualifications, I know it all. Well, I'm sorry you don't. The learning actually starts after you've qualified. So I like to think the best degree for me is the University of Life. Every day is a chance to learn something. Learn something new about yourself, about others, about your career, just about life in general. Keep exploring. And I quite like this, as I often think this is me. And then I read the quote of Mark Twain. A jack of all trades is far more equipped than a master of only one. Not sure if that's true, but sometimes think I know lots about some things and not a lot about just one thing. But it helps me. I think, right, well, I maybe know a lot about a lot of things, but I never stop learning. You learn the day you stop learning is just give up, because really you don't know what's round the corner and you need to learn from everything. Be passionate about what you do. When you're passionate about what you do, you just feel so good. You've got feelings of worth and you feel better about yourself. Go to different places. Better still, if you can manage to go to distant places. Now, there are so many beautiful places around the world. I would love to visit lots of them, all of them, because they give you the chance to learn and experience all the natural and cultural wonders that they offer. Doing this opens your mind to new worlds. Of course, if you're not able to visit because it costs money and lots of us can't, then read and imagine. And I've got another wee story here. It was something told to me by a nurse actually, and she had a patient, a ward, I think there was 4 in the ward, and there was a lady who told stories. So she would speak about all her travels, where she'd been. She just inspired everyone about all she'd seen, talked about. And one day, one of the patients who'd been listening to her stories said to the nurse, "Oh, I must have had a marvellous life, that lady. She'd travelled to all these distant places." And the nurse said, "She's never actually left the country. In fact, she's been bedridden for quite a number of years, but she ordered brochures and she used to imagine herself there. She'd travel in her mind to all these wonderful places." So you can do that. If you can't afford to, maybe get the brochure, have your aspirational board, your inspiration board. I've got one there. I haven't fulfilled all of them. It's a bit like the bucket list, but you know where you want to be. And if you're not going to manage money wise to get there, just imagine, take yourself off to these. I think it's why lots of us like the David Attenborough television programs. He takes us into a different world of all round the planets, whether it's the sea, the deserts. It's amazing and we love it. Don't be afraid to meet new people, whether they're like you or not, or they're different from you. Sometimes it's better if they're different from you, because you learn so much from others. Be a listener and you increase your knowledge of the world. Don't focus on what you don't have. Use what you have to create the life you want. I mean, the sky is the limit, but to get there, you have to want to be clear in your mind how you want to achieve it. And it's got to be clear in your heart, your mind, and your soul. If you don't know what you want or think you don't have what it takes, then you'll never get there. Once you are clear in your mind, then go for it. Make the decision. Don't let opportunities pass you by. Use your gut. And another interesting story here is I use my gut and my intuition. And, well, I like to think I do. And when I'm trying to work out whether I'll do something, I use my gut, I use my intuition. And of course, if that fails, so many people will say to me, "Well, that didn't work, using your gut." But actually, when I reflected on it, I didn't go with my gut. I went with my head. And if you had gone with your instinct, what better maybe it would have worked out. So just try and go with your instinct. It's a difficult thing to do because rationally, I suppose your head is saying, "Oh no, don't do that, don't do that." But try it. So when something doesn't work, I usually find out I haven't gone with my gut. I mean, have you ever had that I'm not sure about this, whether it's a situation or a person. And then you think, well, I have to go with this. And you realise that actually your gut was right in the first place. Use all your senses: sight, hearing, smell, taste, touch. And I think in this pandemic, it's been an interesting one because touch is so important. I love touch. I mean, hugs, people just touching things is just I had a story, well, no, it's a real life story actually. I visited people in long-term hospitals, and that's Millie touching her bed at the moment, clattering on the floor. But I found that there was quite a few agitated patients, and if you're nurses, you probably understand this, or carers. One was so agitated and she was screaming and shaking, and I put my hand across and just touched her hand, and she calmed down immediately. So touch is vital, and it's going to be quite sad if we're not allowed to maybe shake hands with people. I don't know what we're doing, the elbow bumps or whatever, because touch to me is important. But using all your senses, when you use all your senses, you start to understand what it means to be alive, to be a breathing, wonderful, fantastic human being. See the beautiful things around you, hear them, smell the finest aromas, the flowers, just look at nature in all its glory. Or hug someone, and I'm hoping that we are able to do this. We've had virtual hugs just now. Now they're good, but remember you can hug yourself as well. Remember we talked about that. Looked a bit kind of creepy, but actually you can. The warmth of your hands around you and closing around you can actually give you a sense of peace. So remember to do that. Think more and talk less. And that's something I have to learn sometimes. I am a good listener. I'm just talking a lot because I'm doing the video. But if you try and think more and talk less, you learn more and you miss less. So when you do talk, of course, be passionate and talk about something worth talking about, because when you're passionate, you inspire others. But of course, remember, anything worthwhile takes hard work. And I know that most of us, all of us, have to work to make a living. So why not make this life-consuming activity as consistently fun as possible? And of course, another favourite of mine is, guess what? Smile. Yes, it costs you nothing. So between smile is the best, is free, laughter is the best medicine. So our affirmations for today is, I feel fantastic, and this is a fantastic day. And if you just bear with me, I'm going to I was just taking the doggy's biscuit away from her. She gets a fright when she bites into it. It's kind of quite peculiar, but she'll bite into it and crunch it, and then she kind of jumps back from it. I'm sure she feels fantastic because she's got that biscuit. But the affirmation for today is, I feel fantastic. This is a fantastic day. And you can write these things on post-it notes and have them around the house. So on a down moment, you can just look, right, I feel fantastic. And remember, it just takes about 20 seconds to change your physiology from feeling down to feeling upbeat. So the breathing, of course, we do our breathing exercise, but the mind bites today is, I think I'm just going to take you to a safe place where you can just think positively, be yourself, and know about the choices and the strengths that you have within, and that you are a fantastic human being. So if we want to do a visualization, our meditation, it's a mind bites meditation, and this meditation reduces stress and anxiety, and it helps when you feel anxious, and it helps you to feel confident about yourself. It helps you to feel safe, and of course it helps you to let go of fear. So as always, we have to have our feet on the ground, just ground ourselves. And these meditations are fabulous if you can do them out in nature. But it's a bit of a grey day today and maybe cooler. But you can do them inside as well, nighttime, morning, anytime you feel stressed. These are very short. So feet on the ground, shoulders back. You've got to feel confident with your spine straight, and imagine like there's string pulling your head up to the ceiling. So you've got that sort of just body posture of confidence. So let's close our eyes. Take a deep breath in through the nose. Hold. And then exhale. When we take another deep breath in, when you exhale, that all the anxiety and tension leave your mind and body. So take another deep breath in through the nose. Hold. And then exhale. Now imagine yourself in a place that you like to be. This can be anywhere. Somewhere you like to go. Where you like to dream. Or just sit. Imagine your surroundings. All around you is quiet. You feel safe. This is your place. No one can enter this safe place unless you want them to. You feel comfortable just being there. You have no fears when you are there. This is your safe place. Remember, you can go there anytime you want or need. Now take another deep breath in through the nose. Hold. And then exhale. Now you can open your eyes and say, I feel safe. I feel calm. I am positive. I am no longer anxious or stressed. And as this is a fantastic day, you can say, I am a fantastic human being. And then just relax, shake your shoulders, stretch your arms and a big yawn if you want. Just relaxes you. I hope that has helped, but these small meditations, they're just meant to just help you take yourself to somewhere out of the kind of hustle and bustle of life around you. And no matter what you're feeling, you can help yourself to be more positive. So remember, self-hugs, of course, and virtual hugs at the moment are the way forward, I think, still. But remember, a smile costs you nothing, and laughter is the best medicine. So I can leave you with these thoughts for today. It's Friday, and I hope we go into, well, I'm back on Monday. I don't hope. I am fantastic. I feel good. So I've got some thoughts for Monday. I'm trying to keep on the positive theme because times are still a bit uncertain for everybody. But if you've got a topic you'd like me to talk about, then I will do my best. But private message me or post on social media. Happy to do that. And I'll be back on Monday at 10 o'clock. And have a fantastic day and a fantastic weekend. And virtual hugs to everyone. Okay, bye.